Good. You had a good
guys.
vacation, I understand.
The vacation was wonderful. Great time.
Good.
Maria, did we have a quorum? Are we going to have a quorum?
Yes. And I think plus one or two.
Okay.
Yeah, the ones that I know were out were Tom, Dr. Hay, Joel, and Carol Snow. I don't know about Joe, and John Mathers wasn't on the list, Maria. Somehow he got dropped from the yes or no column, but that's fine.
John is not coming.
John is not coming, okay. So we have 5 that are not.
Just paid it.
How are you this evening, Peter?
Well, how are you, Ron?
I'm good, thank you.
Good.
There's Mr. Bodenson. Hi, Ron.
On Maria's link that she sent, I couldn't get in. I clicked on the one that you forwarded to me, Ron, and I could get in.
Oh, really? Isn't that interesting?
Funny.
I actually used the one from the panelists and it went right in.
Yeah, that's what I sent to Jim. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's, should have been the same thing.
Yeah. It's about that time, but I'll give it an extra couple minutes. In case they're having the same difficulty that Jim did.
Good evening.
Oh, Giselle, how are you?
Doing great, doing great.
Good.
How's everyone?
Doing fine, and I'll just give Joe another couple minutes. He's the only one who's unaccounted for. Joe Bonofsky.
We don't have anybody here for the first application yet.
Okay, well, we can wait for them too, I guess. And if we'll give it those couple minutes, and if not,
Because that's the public hearing one. Yep.
yeah. We don't have to start it at 7. We cannot start it before 7.
Right.
Take another item or.
Oh,
Will be
Joe
okay.
Bonofsky came in as an attendee. Let's get him to be a panelist.
And Matt Williams is here. He's
I
representing.
just saw
applicants, I
him
believe,
come
yeah.
in, so I'll make him.
There's Joe too.
I would assume from what I saw in the paperwork, the 74 Wall Street will probably be Matt Williams. Is he doing that one? Or wait a minute, he might be doing 82. I forget now.
No, he's 74.
Matt
No,
is
I'm
70.
here for 74.
Okay, and Matt is here.
He just showed up. Yep.
Good evening, Matt.
Hi, Ron, members of the commission.
We haven't started yet, so.
Oh, you haven't? Okay.
Oh, I just waiting for Joe Bonofsky, and Joe just showed up. So good evening, Joe.
Hey, how are you, Ron?
I'm fine, thank you. All right.
Hey,
well,
Ron.
Fine, thank you. All right,
Uh-oh.
okay. And Marlene's here. That certainly matters. Good evening, Marlene. Okay.
Hello.
7:02. Welcome everybody to the September 16th. Somebody got some noise in the background. Welcome everybody to the September 16th, 2021 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. We have a public hearing to start the evening. And with that, I will assign Ron Bowden. So Ron, if you would please sit for Tom Berland. And Peter Roos, if you would be seated for Joel Miller. Is that okay? And with that, I have to call up I'm a little behind because of everything else. Read the first application. Again, this is a public hearing. It's application 21-17 at 74 Wall Street, map 38, lot 31 in the D district. The owner is Overshore Associates LLC. And the applicant is Williams Architects Incorporated. It's a special exception permit application for a change of use of a single-family dwelling with an accessory apartment to a two-family dwelling per section 6.15.9. So with that, I will turn it over to Matt Williams. Good evening, Matt. I think you're muted, Matt. I make that mistake all the time.
No, I know. I think I did that for about 5 minutes on Monday night at another meeting. So this is just a piece of paperwork, I think, in order to just make fully legitimate what is an existing two-family dwelling. It was previously occupied by an owner, and I think for about 20 years ago, if you look in the paperwork, I think there's an old approval in there for an accessory apartment. And they have sold the property and the new owner is not living there. Therefore, the renewal of the accessory apartment is not possible. However, the building, the way it's set up and constructed is the way it would be done if it were, just a two-family dwelling to begin with. There's separate entrances. There's separate everything. There's no inner connection between the two units. And what we wanted to do was just get on the record that this is a legal two-family dwelling. And in order to do that in this zone, we had to go through 815.2, I think it is, for that special exception. So there's actually no work proposed at all in this application. It's just a matter of it being legitimized, hopefully.
Okay. That's it, Matt, for now.
I think so. If you want, I could show you some photographs, or I could, you have the
Yeah,
plan,
this
you
is-
have the package. So,
It is a public hearing. I think that would be worthwhile if you don't mind.
okay, sure. Let me pull a couple things up. Give me 1 second. Okay, share screen. I think I'm disabled for screen sharing. At least that's what Zoom is telling me.
All right, Maria,
Go
just
ahead,
make
try
me
it
the
now.
host.
If not,
Go ahead.
if-
Okay.
yeah.
There we go. wrong picture. What is going on? Give me one moment.
I don't recognize that building on Wall Street, to tell you the truth.
No, it's not, not what it is. I had it up. Let me bring it up again. I guess
Matt, do you need me to do it? I have it all set up if you need me to do it.
no, I think it's, let me do it one more time. There it is. Okay. So this is the back of the building. There's this is an entrance for the larger unit, which encompasses the southerly half. If you split, the building's basically split down the middle, perpendicular to the street. And that's that entrance. And then this is the entrance to the other unit, which is the 1-bedroom. I think this one's listed as a 2-bedroom. I can't remember. Or maybe not. I don't know. But anyway, that's the, zoom out of my way here. That's the back of the building. I'm going to open up sometimes it makes me do this a million times over individually in these pictures. I don't want to show you all 50 of them that we took because it's just not necessary. Okay, the front. So this is what it looks like from the street. This front door is only accessible to that unit again that's on the south half of the building, which also has the use of the upper floor. So so that's how they're divided. For some reason. Wow, that's just so strange. Oh, I must have taken those
You
pictures.
said that's the front of the building. Isn't that the rear, Matt? Isn't that Wall Street in the background?
In the original photo, but you know, for some reason I am having an issue here. Hold on, let me just pull. Okay. So this is the picture you're seeing, the back of the building, the person bending over tying their shoe, I presume?
Yep.
Okay. I am just gonna scroll through because it's gonna be a lot easier. This is all the rear. You're gonna see me taking pictures of another project. Some more pictures, blah, blah. And I'm sorry, I wasn't quite prepared, but I know the picture of the front of this building is way at the end of this list. One more time. It's telling me screen sharing is stopped. Windows. Let me just reopen it one last time so you can see the front.
Okay.
For some reason it wants me to do this every time. Okay, so this is the front of the building. And I don't, did you see this already? I'm not even sure what you've seen.
No, we haven't seen it.
Okay, all right. And this, I started to describe, this is the,
It just disappeared,
yeah.
but we got to see it. So I think that's helpful.
No, it's strange. This viewer must be stuck on slideshow or something. All right, well, how's that?
Ah, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's the front as well. So anyway. So this is the entrance that, you know, the larger unit is this half of the building, and then they have access to the upper floor. But again, it's been through the whole building. I've lots of photographs through it. We drew that little plan for you to show you how it's divided. There's no reason to really have any improvement made to it that I could see. So we're asking you to do is to just recognize it as a 2-family dwelling in the D district.
Okay. All right. Thanks for the photo. Maybe you could take that down.
Yeah.
So if it's,
I think I downloaded the new version of Zoom here, and as usual, it thinks it's a lot smarter than me, and it's trying to like run a slideshow for me or something.
okay. Well, while you're doing that, Matt, this is, I'll first ask, because it is a public hearing. Do any of the commissioners have questions for Mr. Williams about what he's proposing? Ron Bodenson, please.
Yeah, are these two units separately metered?
Yes, I believe they are. And
But you don't know.
you know what? I should know.
Are they
Yeah,
separately?
they are.
Mhm.
I'm not sure I have a photograph to show you, but I know that they are separately metered. You know
Are
what I'm
they
going to do?
separately Are they separately addressed?
That I don't know for sure. I really don't. I would imagine that they are. I haven't checked with the post office because I think the previous owner had lived there for 20 years with a tenant of sorts, whether it was family or not. I don't believe it always was.
And I saw the separate doors in the back. Where does the front door on the street go to? To both
It
units
goes-
or one?
Just one unit, and that unit that goes along the south side of the building. This is the floor plan, and I think you probably have that in front of you, but what I showed you from the Wall Street view is this door and then this unit. The shaded area is the second floor above, which is all only accessed from this unit.
Any questions about that? Ron, did that answer those were your questions? You got them answered?
Yeah, he wasn't sure about the metering, but I assume it would
Yeah.
be.
So I have a question. So what does that heavy black line delineate?
That's the demising wall between the units.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions from commission members?
Ron,
Peter, please.
just a quick question. So by changing this under the regs, we're going to move this to 6.15.9, which means the owner does not have to occupy, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
I have another question. So there are currently two separate families currently residing in this
Yes. there is.
dwelling,
Yes.
and currently neither is the owner?
No. They purchased the property earlier this year, and this came up because their bank that they're doing a refinance with, asked to have the accessory apartment renewed, which we can't because they're not going to live there. It was never really their plan. I don't think they were aware of this limitation when they bought it.
The owner is Overshore, so this is Bill's building?
Yes, Bill and Tim. Yes.
Okay, any other questions from the commission? Hearing none at this moment, it is a public hearing. I don't know whether there are any members of the public who would like to ask questions. But now would be your time to do so. And you can do that by electronically raising your hand. Anybody doing that, Maria?
I don't see any, but I don't have control of the meeting anymore. Because Matt is now hosted and won't let me take it back.
Okay, well, we can't have Matt hosting the meeting, so we,
Hold on, it's got it. It just let me do it.
You can take it back. And
Thank you.
I did just find the photograph of the 2 meters on the south side of the building. So
Okay.
if you'd like, I can email that to Maria after the meeting. It's probably easier than me trying to share my screen with the issues I'm having. Okay, I stopped my sharing, Maria. Does that help?
Thank you.
It looks like we only have 3 members of the public with us.
Just-
Is that correct?
No, 2 of them are actually for the other meeting, but there's no one raising their hand.
right. So if there are no other questions, Matt, do you have anything you want to add after the questions are asked?
I don't. It's like I said, it's just hopefully you'll vote to recognize it as an existing 2-family dwelling, which physically is what it is, in the way it's built.
Understood. Well, with that, I would entertain a motion from someone to is that your hand, Elliot?
Oh, we got to what? Close the public hearing?
Well, that's
Motion.
true. In a while. Yeah, we need a motion to close the public hearing first.
I'll
Thank
make a
you.
motion to close the public hearing.
Thanks, Elliot. And Peter Russo, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thanks for that correction. And now I would entertain a motion on the application.
I'll put in the motion to approve the single family to a double or multi-family.
Two-family, 6.15. Bill, second from anyone?
Were we gonna have, Ron, were we gonna have discussion before we voted? Once the public hearing is closed?
Yeah, once the motion is made, yes. But I need
Okay.
in order to have discussion.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. So I need a second from somebody.
I'll
please.
second.
Thank you, Peter. Okay, discussion.
I'll start the discussion. I was at a community event last evening, and several people there knew that I was a commissioner on the Planning and Zoning Board. And for the first time ever, was I confronted in public with people expressing their disenchantment for the seemingly growing density of the downtown district. And they said, they asked me, a couple of different people asked me what I can do about it. And I said, well, single-handedly, nothing. I said, but I can bring it up as a topic of discussion to review the current regs. And obviously you can imagine two of the major factors that, took place recently in town that caused this disenchantment with change. So obviously, the most recent property on Birnbaum, and then the condos across from the gas station. So, I was sort of trying to explain what led us to those decisions, months and months and years ago. And basically, the way it ended was I said, well, those were, to make those changes, those were public hearings many, many moons ago. And, these were the reasons why they were made. And, and then of course, Davis Realty's, ongoing project or new project that came into the conversation. And one gentleman said to me, well, we don't want this increased density. And I said, and essentially my initial knee-jerk answer was, well, the townspeople who don't want these changes need to play a more active role in public hearings that, permit these types of uses to take place. And that was not a good enough answer. And I recognized it at the time. And I said, well, I'll take it up with the commission as a discussion point for us to discuss, some of the changes that have been made over the years, 2 years out, 5 years out, 10 years out. What does the downtown district look like? Is it, do we increase the population twofold, fourfold, sixfold? I have no idea. But there is some of the groundwork in place right now for, maybe not to that extreme, but for that to happen. So I think at some point in the future, we should reevaluate all of the zoning amendments we've made over time that would allow for some of these changes to happen, and maybe reevaluate whether unintended consequences can happen as a result of that, now that we're, a few years down the road.
Well, you raised some good points, Joe, and what, in my mind, worthy of some comment, but I would like to defer that. It isn't germane unless you're somehow
No, it's not.
application.
It was only germane in my mind because I had this conversation last night, and here we are permitting a two-family home in what was once a one-family home. That was the only reason I'm bringing it up, because I do want it to be a future discussion.
I agree with you. However, it was a house in which two families were living, and two families will continue to live. There's no increase in density here. So
Agreed. Completely agreed, Ron.
let's maybe during the comment section after we're through with the official business, we can kick it around for a few minutes if everybody's willing to do that. So thanks for bringing that up.
Okay.
Any discussion on the application itself, on the motion? Ron?
Yeah, I would like to ask John, our planner, is all of this appropriate and follows our rules and regulation?
Insofar as I was able to determine, Ron, yes, although your question about addresses is an interesting one. I mean, that's something that could be rectified. But when I was looking at the regulations, the differences, between owner occupied accessory apartment and a two-family, I have to say I was stunned at how diligent and assiduous the former owner was in filing this ownership paper every year, and because it's impossible to enforce. Had they chosen not to, and just chosen to, let it go and treat it as a two-family, that sort of thing is incredibly difficult to enforce, and it confounds me as how you would, try to evict someone because they didn't own something, as a third party, community. So that's a bit of editorializing. Your question was, does it meet the regulations? Yes, and I think to Joe's question, this changes literally nothing. The density remains the same, the house remains the same, the structure remains the same, the use remains the same. It's just a question of whose name is on the deed, which should be very little concern of this commission. So I would endorse approval of this myself.
Thank you. And Ron, I don't know the regs chapter and verse, but I don't believe there's anything that says for two-family or multi-family, there have to be differentiating addresses in our zoning regulations. So it's a good point, but I don't think it's part of, post office may have a problem, but not necessarily us, so to speak.
Though I really think it's the town that
Well, whatever.
contributes addresses, but I don't.
Not in our regulations. Jim?
Yeah.
You're muted, Jim. Jim, you're muted.
Trying to unmute.
There we go.
So
You're on.
shown as Ron Clark. Anyway, I call the question.
Thank you. Thanks, Jim. All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? None. Abstentions? None. Matt, thank you. And thanks for showing us all those pictures. We got a full tour.
Oh, Matt's muted.
Matt's muted. Thanks, Matt. Okay. Next on our agenda, regular meeting item, it's application 21-15 CSP, 69 Soundview Avenue, map 7, lot 4 in the R4 district. The owners are Amy and Robert Stefanowski. The applicant is Amy and Robert Stefanowski. This is a coastal site plan review for the demolition and reconstruction of a single-family home, a new septic system on the street side of the proposed home, and a swimming pool and subsurface stormwater retention system on the south side of the home. So with that, I will turn that over. Is it Mr. Mandel who's going to present? Are you there, Chuck? We are not zooming right along tonight, are we?
He just dropped off the list.
No.
Oh, no,
He jumped
he's
in
now
as
a
a panelist.
panelist.
Maria promoted him.
There we
Well,
go.
I just joined as a panelist. Thank you very much. Good evening, Chuck Mandel, agent for the applicant, Robert and Amy Stefanowski, 69 Soundview. This project, we will be demolishing the existing home. The existing house right now is non-conforming in many areas on the side yards and also in the towards the water side. It's also currently in a VE 13 zone. So what we're proposing is we're going to move it north and get it completely out of the FEMA floods, the special flood hazard area. And so we're going to, it's just demolishing and putting in a pool and a 4-bedroom house. I do have a preliminary letter from the health department. Amanda had been reviewing. She didn't finish her review. I did send Maria a letter stating that the soils are adequate for a code complying system. And we will be getting approvals from that. We also did receive a letter today from Deep, and if you want to read it into the record, you can, or I can just give you the gist of it is we're having commend the applicant for proposing stormwater management, and we recommend that the commission require the stormwater system as a condition of coastal site plan approval. We do have a stormwater system. We'll be capturing the first inch. Previously, there was nothing to mitigate stormwater. And it's a fairly straightforward application. The closest part of this plan that we have to 50 foot from the coastal jurisdiction line is the swimming pool, and that's about 49.7, but per section 25.2.1.2, swimming pools are allowed to be within 25 feet of the coastal jurisdiction line. So we will be conforming in all phases of this project.
Okay, Chuck, it seems like you don't have too many members. This isn't a public hearing, but we have at least one member of the public, and certainly some will be watching this on videotape after the fact. Do you have any exhibits or a site plan you could share?
Yeah, Maria, would you be able to show the plan for me?
For the record, we've received this information, but the public may not have.
Okay. I think Maria said she'd be able to share the screen. If you want to zoom in a little bit on the house, Maria. Thank you. So the pink is the existing structure. You can see it goes over the building setback line on the west side of the property. Also on the south side, it's about 41 feet from the coastal jurisdiction line. And if you look also towards the bottom, there's a dashed line that shows the flood zones. So there's a flood zone of the VE 13, and you can see that hits the existing structure. We will be missing that completely on the proposed structure. The septic system is as far away from the water as we can get it. It's all the way to the north. It's that green shaded area. And the stormwater retention system is to the south, and that's in light blue. We will be capturing all the roof water. The driveway will be pervious pavers also. And that small green box on the left, the labeling, I guess, got turned off. That's the swimming pool.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, it's actually it's a developed waterfront. It's a stone wall and it's a rocky shorefront. It's been recently, we had a COP recently, and we did put in the riprap with DEP approvals.
Okay. Any questions from the commission at this point? Speak up. Of course, I can't see who's raising their, oh, there we are. Any commission questions?
I have
None?
one. Is the house ground level or is it on stilts?
No, we're going to be in an X zone, so it's not in a special flood hazard area. So it will be ground level. Yeah. The finished floor is going to be elevation 14.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. Without any, I would ask for a motion to act on or approve this coastal site plan. Anyone?
I'll motion to approve the coastal site plan.
Thanks, Joe.
You're welcome.
Second? Madison, I think you had one already, Peter. And so we have a second from Jim. Any further discussion? And this will be worded, of course, it's in performance with the Coastal Management Act and so on, right, Jim?
Yes,
Or Joe, I should say. Joe and Jim.
Yes, I don't have the nomenclature in front of me, but yes, in accordance with the coastal site plan 21-15. I motion to approve.
Good, thank you. Ron, are you raising your hand?
Yeah, I thought that the letter that he read, that Deep asked us to make something a condition. Maybe Chuck could read that, or maybe John knows what it
Yeah,
is.
I'll be happy, Chuck Mandel, I'll be happy to read that. It was the last sentence on the letter dated September 16th, 2021. And it says, "We again commend the applicant for proposing stormwater management, and we recommend that the commission require the stormwater system as a condition of coastal site plan approval." And that is on our plan already. And we are planning on implementing that.
And it is part of the approval because it's in it, yeah.
Yes.
Thanks, Ron. Any further discussion? Call the vote. All in favor? Aye.
aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? None. Mr. Mandel, thank you.
Thank you very much. You have a good evening.
Have a nice evening.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next on our agenda, it's application 21-18 at 82 Wall Street. Map 38, lot 30 in the D district. The owners applicant are R&S Holdings LLC. It's a minor site plan review in the downtown village district to allow the change of use of the second and third floors from office space to residential use as previously approved in 2017. And I see Attorney McKeon is with us, and I assume he will be presenting.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Chairman and commission members. My name is Chris McKeon. I represent, you have it printed as R&S on the agenda, but it's actually S&R Holdings LLC, the owner of 82 Wall Street. This property is adjacent to the Clarity Commons original buildings. It was purchased back in 2017. And at that time, we submitted a site plan and special exception to have a restaurant on the first floor and apartments on floors 2 and 3. That special exception did receive a public hearing, but the public hearing was only required because it was a major alteration in the downtown village district. The uses at the time being permitted in the zone. So if it weren't in the downtown village district, it would have merely been a site plan approval at that time, but we did go through the special exception process. And at that time, the commission approved the use for a first floor restaurant and second and third floor apartments. Subsequent to that time, you may recall, I think many of you were on the commission then, Clarity Software, the business at 92 Wall, was exploding and needing more and more space. They took some space in the 90 Wall Street building, which is the building closer to Wall Street from the large building 92 Wall. And they also needed to utilize this building 82 Wall for office. And we came before the commission at that time to have the approval modified for the use being office in the entire building. The circumstances again are now changing, and the first floor, the first floor of the building will continue to be office. However, Clarity Software is limiting its operation now just to the 92 Wall Street building, which is the large building in the rear of that, both of those properties. And we are seeking the approval of the reversion back to the use that was originally approved back in 2017, with the second and third floors being used for residential purposes. The apartment use on the second and third floor is a use permitted as of right in the zone. And we're seeking nothing different than what was approved back in 2017. So other than that, I did not have much else to add, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Question, anyone?
Ron, I had a question, but I'll let the commissioners go first.
All right, thanks, John. All right, John?
Chris, what was the application and review procedure to convert the residential restaurant approval over to office? Was that a site plan?
Yeah, we did a site plan modification. Are you talking about after the initial approval of the restaurant?
Correct.
Yeah, we made the identical application we're making here to modify the site plan and for the specific use we were putting to the property.
And at that time, it was an interior change of use, no exterior changes to the building, and the proposed uses were allowed. So it was, and the commission at that time allowed this to be approved through a site plan minor modification, interior change of use only.
Correct. And because there were no exterior changes to the building, there was no need for a referral to ACA. We're not proposing any modifications to the exterior of the building here. And the only other item I would have noted and meant to was the zoning chart that we submitted shows the revised parking requirement for the use being changed to residential as opposed to office. It is less parking is required. So there's already very ample parking on the site, and residential use actually requires less parking than the current use.
Right. And so at the time switching from restaurant and residential to office, which was a more parking intensive, I guess in theory, the commission did not require additional parking considerations at that time.
No.
Okay. And do you happen to know, have in your notes when that first revision to the original special permit approval was?
Give me a second, I can find it.
Okay.
It may come off the screen because I'm on
Yeah.
the same computer where that
All
information.
right. Yeah, no, because I didn't see it in the application itself, but
Just bear with me.
just for reference.
Okay.
I remember the application. I can't remember when it was, though.
We had a site plan modification application. Let's see if it's going to let me open this.
I mean, well, as he's pulling that up, the reason for my asking, Mr. Chairman, is if this commission was, interested in approving this, I would probably just recommend you make reference to that, the decisions made by this commission in approving that site plan, recognizing that the conditions represented by this application are substantially the same. And so there's no reason to not make the same decision.
Thanks, John.
I believe that application was made to the commission in February of 2019. And we also had a parking plan modification. We were in front of the commission to modify that's actually going back even before that. We were in front of the commission to modify the parking on the adjacent property because we wanted to relocate a trash area. We were in front of the commission to modify the approval because we needed to put in some egress stairs. And actually that is when we did the change to office use. There's an approval letter that I have from July 30th of 2018 that was when the modification was done both for adding egress stairs, which that one actually did go to ACA beforehand, as I recall. And that application also sought the change to office use. And again, my computer won't let me open it because I think I'm on Zoom right now, but the approval letter was July 30th of 2018.
Okay, thank you. And well, I would just then ask, well, it's all going to be in the same file anyway, but I make some reference to that.
And by the way, any and all of the conditions and requirements of the original approval, we would not be seeking to change. And if the commission feels that they need to reiterate those as an approval of this, if you're so inclined, then that's not a problem with us.
Okay.
The only final thing I would say is that, and I think I actually discussed this today, was the septic system, which, as you know, is the system that is installed there is sufficient to handle a first floor restaurant. So it is more than sufficient to handle the office and 2 apartments that we're wanting to revert to.
All right, thank you, Attorney McCann. Any questions from the commission?
I don't have a question. I just have a comment. I actually do remember that that was a public hearing, and I think it lasted possibly more than one meeting. There were residents from Arbor Lane that were involved, specifically when it came to relocating the dumpsters. They wanted to make sure the timing of the trash trucks coming in wasn't going to interfere with, their morning coffee and stuff like that. That was not a quick decision that was made.
I recall that myself. Anyone else? All right, then I would request that we entertain a motion. Is anybody willing to make that? Please.
I'll motion to approve that.
Thank you, Joe.
With the sole understanding that that was our original approval.
Yeah, okay. Waiting for a second.
I'll second.
I got Elliot, got his hand up a little bit ahead of you, Giselle. Just like Jeopardy, pushing a button.
I saw it out of the corner of my eye. Elliot did beat her.
Any further discussion? Ron?
Yeah, so I guess technically, we're increasing the density of residences in the downtown area. I assume that's part of the plan, right? Does not the plan of conservation promote increased density at this stage anyway, John?
It does indeed.
Okay, so I'm for it, but if that issue, I think, would properly come up next year when we review the plan of conservation, but
I think you're right, Ron.
Yeah.
I think there are members of the public that'll have a lot more activity participation wise than they had in the past.
Okay. So any more discussion? I'll call the vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? None? Thank you. Thank you for your vote. Thank you, Attorney McCann.
Thank you all. Have a good evening.
Thank you as well.
Take care.
Okay. The last regular item on our agenda is a discussion. It's a discussion of a moratorium on recreational cannabis facilities. And I believe, did everybody get to see the information John sent to us last week with some moratoriums from other communities? Yes, no?
Yes.
Okay. Everybody see it? Anybody not see it? Okay.
I did
Seems
not
like-
see it, or it went to spam or something. So maybe you could send it again, John.
Okay, yeah, we'll send it
Thank you.
around. And I can also share my screen. I've got it up on it.
Yeah, why don't you do that and give us a little description, if you don't mind, John?
So basically what I've provided here is basically a proposed moratorium language drawn from model moratoria that have been placed by other towns specifically about recreational cannabis use and recreational retail applications. And again, so it's recognizing that the state did legalize the cultivation, sale, transport, distribution. And the town of Madison is sort of in process of, convening, the Board of Selectmen convened sort of an interboard group studying the issue, which would cover, not only the sales, but also, where it will allow it to be, consumed or smoked or ingested in public places, through some sort of ordinance process. And while that is going on, a lot of communities, and I think Madison being one of them, wants to make sure that the state licensure process doesn't suddenly accelerate and people are seeking to grab a retail spot in Madison. Now we are aware that the limit on retail licenses will be such that Madison will only ever likely get a single license for a retail operation in Madison. However, without specific regulations in place, it is very likely that a retail applicant would qualify to go in any business or commercial district that allowed retail uses. That, in other words, that because recreational cannabis retail is legal, that it's a legal retail use and therefore could qualify to go into a retail space in Madison without any particular fancy permitting. And so what we've proposed is, because the town is in process of coming up with its collective approach, it might be appropriate to put in a temporary moratorium. And I've structured this one for 6 months from the date of adoption. And a moratorium, and I know you've adopted them in the past, although not particularly recently. The last moratorium was actually also dealing with marijuana, in this case, medical marijuana, back in 2014. A moratorium needs to be specific for a very specific purpose. It needs to be time bound, and it needs to have some that time period needs to have some nexus with the amount of time the commission needs to sort of get itself organized to address the issue. It's not just a ban under a different name that can remain forever. It needs to be very specifically time bound. And so I've prepared the draft moratorium with that stuff in mind, and included a couple of definitions for cannabis establishment, and basically memorialized it and proposed to add it to section 2-20 of your zoning regulations, which is the section for moratoria. That's what I got, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, John. I'm looking through it and I forget now. Cultivation, is that in there?
Yes, so we defined broadly cannabis establishment, which would include producers, dispensary, cultivators, micro-cultivators, retail, hybrid retail, etc. So any cannabis establishment.
Okay,
In my comments, I did refer primarily to retail, but this would be any establishment.
right. And as you said, the selectmen, they just voted on recently establishing an ad hoc committee. I know we've the commission has selected Joe Banofsky to act as our representative. I know we're going to be one of the groups. Police, certainly, Youth and Family Services, police, maybe the Chamber of Commerce representative, I don't know, but I don't think they've had you haven't gotten any word on a meeting, have you, Joe?
No, I have not.
Okay, I think it's just being formed and members being put in place. So that'll be a bit down the road. And 6 months takes us into, well, when would be voting on this? The next meeting, John?
Right. So yeah, the idea would be, this is, because it's going into the regulations, it would be a text amendment. You'd need to have a public hearing. So we could hold this in the third Wednesday of October.
So
And
a month. So that would do,
the 21st, it would be, I
April.
think.
so roughly through April in terms of moratorium, in terms of dates. And that seems like a reasonable time for the committee to do its work. And then we will certainly have some input from that side to make any regulation changes that we deem necessary. Is that the right way to couch it, John?
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. And so if the commission was so inclined, I would recommend actually basically considering this a formal receipt of application and scheduling the hearing.
Okay. Is everybody on the same page with this?
Yeah, I have a question, Ron.
Yes, please, Jim.
Yeah, so John, you chose 6 months as maybe your judgment was 6 months should be sufficient. Would something like 12 months be considered invalid for this purpose or inappropriate? Let me put it that way.
No, I wouldn't say necessarily. I think, and and it's unlikely that the timing of this would be challenged. I would say, again, the timing should represent some sort of reasonable nexus for what you think it would take to come up with the zoning commission's approach. Now, obviously, the town's approach when it comes to use in certain public places, or if the town chooses to impose a tax, which is something that towns can do on sales, is quite different and a little bit more involved than what's before planning and zoning. I think planning and zoning really just has 3 choices, which is allow and not and allow as general retail, allow as a certain special exception use, or prohibit. And so, I think, I don't want to make your decisions for you. I think if you believe that this commission will require more than 6 months, well, then you can do that. But there should be some nexus based on the complexity of the decision and the structure that you need to build.
And the only reason I'm thinking 12 months is because of cannabis establishment, which is a broad definition. And I know you're saying we're really just considering retail, but yeah,
you're right. In terms of cultivators as well. Sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's, food and beverage manufacturer. I mean, there's a lot of things there. So anyway, I'd like to see the 6 months, but
Maybe 9, Jim?
well, more than 6. Yeah, 9 months. I mean, we'll see how quickly this moves with the other. I know our scope is somewhat limited and perhaps not as much as those that are considering, other actions, but yeah, 9 months. How about 9 months?
Okay. How does the commission feel about a 9-month moratorium?
Fine.
If you could take that screen down, John, like we could see hands or whatever.
Ron, I'm in favor of the 9-month moratorium just because who knows how long the ad hoc committee is going to take to come to its conclusions, and with,
You're right.
a valuable, offering of opinion.
And I wouldn't be at all surprised if they may do a survey. There's certainly a public hearing. It could be a little bit of time consumed before they even have a work product or enough information to start discussing. But I just want to make certain that, John, that our 9-month moratorium moratorium in no way would prevent the town itself from establishing, for example, an ordinance that you cannot smoke at the surf club, or, that would not at all be affected, because doing those things now is legal. Right? Marijuana is legal in Connecticut. So if they just move quicker to, with ordinances, we won't be interfering with that, I don't believe. Is that correct?
That's correct.
That's good.
So I've changed it on the screen. I can if you accept the version, or if you want to receive the version that I just changed, we will get that out.
Okay, is everybody in agreement?
I was fine with John's version.
Anybody think of a different opinion? Let's put it that way.
No, but I think we, to justify it, we need as many reasons as possible. We're getting a new
Not at this
planner.
point.
Pardon me? Not at this point?
We don't need to justify it.
I think, yeah, no, I think that's for the public hearing.
Okay.
Right. So we can continue that. We'll take this up next month as a 9-month moratorium, and you'll send that information out and we can act on it a month from now. Is that?
Right, Maria will advertise this as the public hearing and bring it up then.
Okay, and maybe then by the ad hoc committee, at least we'll know who the players are, and we can have some good information to at least share with the public as what's going on. And I'm just looking over at Joe Bonofsky on the screen. It looks like in addition to attending the Thursday night planning and zoning meeting, he is also the producer of Thursday Night Football, the Giants game, with those screens.
No, that's just some, I don't know what that is. That's some screensaver.
No, but it certainly is an impressive array, I'll tell you that.
Well, I do a lot of different things. I need a lot of different screens.
I know you do. I know you do. Okay, then we'll pick that up a month from now. Next on the agenda, Elliot, you have some minutes you want to go over with us?
I do. Let's see. First one is our regular meeting from July 15th. Members present were Clark, Madison, Hitchcock, Bonofsky, Mathers, alternates present, Ruse, Bodenson, and Snow. Would entertain a motion.
I read through the minutes. I'll motion to approve.
Joe? Second by Peter. Any discussions or changes? Seeing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Second one is our planning meeting from August 5th. Members present, Clark, Madison, Hitchcock, Mathers, Bonofsky, and Hay. Alternates present, Ruse, Bodenson, and Snow. We'll entertain a motion on that one.
Motion to approve.
Peter,
I'll second.
seconded by Ron. Any discussion or changes on that one? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? None. And then our last one is our planning meeting from September 2nd. Members present, Clark, Madison, McDowell, Bonofsky, Miller, and Berlin. Alternates present, Ruse, Bodenson, and Snow. And we'll entertain a motion on that one.
I'll motion to approve.
I'll
Joe?
second the motion.
Seconded by Jim. Any discussions or changes? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. And that's it.
Okay, thank you, Elliot. That takes care of our formal agenda. Commissioners' remarks. Only a couple. We do have those mini inspection tours, if you call that, the general's residence schedule. The first one is on Saturday. Maria will firm up with the members who are attending that one, and the other two dates in October, Saturday mornings. Some of you are aware, I've been reading on Facebook that the Winter Club the 251 Club, it's recently been changed to, that property has come on the market for about $1.5 million, which was a surprise to me. And I think everybody knows where that is. Is that correct? The Winter Club?
Yes.
And John, you haven't really looked at it, but do you have not any calls about it? Have any reason to look into it? It's zoned residential. It's a non-conforming use as a club. What might happen to that? What would be allowed? What wouldn't? Any insight?
Yeah, I think, and I haven't looked into it deeply, and I'm not aware of anyone calling for questions about it. Maria would certainly be the front lines if anybody's looking for information. I think, I think this commission probably has a little bit of latitude about changing non-conforming uses to perhaps a more conforming, even if not totally. Obviously, someone else can buy it and restore the club use that was there. That's allowed to remain essentially as a indefinite term grandfather clause, unless someone proactively changes it to something else.
Yeah.
That's more conforming. I think this commission has some latitude to accept something that is not quite 100% conforming, but is certainly less non-conforming. So if it's a lighter impact use, something a little bit closer on the spectrum to residential, but the cleanest use or the cleanest transition might be the sort of special development district concept that we've talked about a little bit in the past. If this commission wants to move in that direction to address unique uses in sort of unusual properties. I don't know. That's kind of shooting from the hip. It's kind of we'll see what comes forward.
Yeah, it only came on the market last week, I believe. So we'll see what's in store for us and what the applicant or potential purchaser might have in their mind, and take it from there. Thank you for that. Finally, I'm happy, and John's probably happy too, that on Monday the 20th, Erin Mannix, our new town planner, will be starting. She was officially hired on board Monday at the selectmen's meeting, so I want to welcome Erin to the Madison family, although she already is part of it. She lives here. And I didn't know if, out of her own curiosity, Maria, is Erin with us this evening? Is she a fly on the wall?
No, she is not.
Okay, so I was going to introduce her if she was here. Surprise introduction if she was here.
No, she said she would come just start with the regular planning meeting next in October.
Okay, terrific. And of course, she's still in the employ, I believe, of the town of Guilford, so she's probably working tonight anyway. But welcome to Erin, and we look forward to meeting with her and working with her. And John, you're going to be staying on for a while to overlap, which I think is a good thing as well. So that's where we go from here with that. John, do you have anything you want to bring up?
No, I guess just a what we would call a compliment sandwich. The first thing is it's been great working with you guys, and particularly working with John and Maria in the land use office. It's been a pleasure, and I kind of blow in there like a tornado every Thursday morning, and everything's very well set up and very well organized. So it's been great, and I've really respected the thoughtful deliberation that you guys all bring to the to making your decisions. So that's been a pleasure. One thing I would note, I'll be a scold, is in terms of email communications, I would strongly encourage, if you get emails from staff, from myself or particularly from Maria, for things like scheduling of site visits or attendance of meetings and things like that, I would encourage people very, very strongly not to hit reply all, because even though certain things are innocuous, like whether you're coming to a meeting or not, that's no problem. But conversations can quickly evolve about, oh, did you read this or did you see that? And it becomes ex parte communication that should really be kept out of email and should. So it's perfectly okay to communicate with staff, but I would encourage you not to. If something is sent to everyone by staff, please do not reply all. Just as cleaner. And then the other half of the compliment sandwich is we did meet with Erin today. I think you guys will be very pleased. She's an excellent a land use professional and has a very good head on her shoulders. I think the transition will not need to be long, although I will meet with Ron next week to talk about the specifics and perhaps, the town has a couple extra bucks to spend on me if they want. We can take on some special projects, maybe fix some regulations while Erin is getting her feet under her. But you certainly won't need me day to day in any kind of way. So I think the town has made a very good choice, and I'll leave it at that.
Thank you for that. And I, on behalf of the commission, would like to compliment you for coming in cold from all the way in Pomfret, not knowing a heck of a lot about the local knowledge and what the intricacies are in a town like ours. And it's almost been seamless, and it's a credit to your professionalism. And I mean that. We've had, our fair share of discussions about how and what to keep things moving along. And you've certainly held up your end of the bargain and should be recognized and applauded for it. And I hope that it continues for a little while longer, as you say. So thank you.
Thanks. I learned a little something about small cluster developments in the process.
From both sides.
More than you wanted, yeah.
Yeah.
Any of the commissioners have anything to add or say? Questions, comments? If
My
not,
only comment is just a nitpicky thing, echoing what John has already said. Coming from somebody who gets probably 100 emails a day, most of which are valid. The reply to all thing is just a pet peeve of mine. I don't need to know when 15 other people are going to attend a meeting.
Look, well said, Joe. And the only other thing, and I won't belabor it, we won't discuss it, chance to get out of here quickly, but your earlier comments, Joe, on the earlier application, the time is right. These couple of people feel that way. They certainly have every right. We take our marching orders to a large degree from a plan of conservation and development. That's our reference manual. And,
Right.
and the timing is good because we'll be starting on that work relatively. We really don't put it together. We really are responsible for it, but it's the people here in the community who draft it and write it and have hearings about it. And they write the Bible for us. So
Well said, Ron. Well said.
if those people do want to get involved and be part of the process, the timing is right. They don't have to wait 9 years to do it. They have to wait a relatively short period of time. So that's to be continued. Anybody else?
I just want to say that I'm going to send an email to everyone with the schedule for the walks. And if you have to change it, please let me know, but keep in mind there can only be 4 people at a time.
Yeah. And if you made the commitment, please keep it. That would be embarrassing if nobody came. So 10 o'clock. Thank you,
And-
Maria.
Maria, you did get my response. I'm unable to attend this Saturday.
You are unable?
I am unable, yes.
Okay, and then I will take you off the list.
Thank you.
That was a reply all.
Did you reschedule for something else, Joe?
I haven't yet. I'll make an attempt to do that
Okay.
tomorrow.
Yeah, let's handle the details of that via email.
Actually, I'm sorry. Let me retract that. This Saturday
You're
morning,
sending-
Maria, I'll speak with you tomorrow morning. How's that sound?
You're going to send this out tomorrow? I just wanted to confirm where I am.
I'm sitting at my desk. I'm sending it out right now.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else have anything they want to add? I don't see any hands. So I expect now to see a hand for adjournment. Anybody willing to make that one?
I'll motion.
Thanks, Joe. Second from Peter Roos. All in favor? Don't even bother.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Have a nice, see you in a couple weeks.
Good night, everybody.
Night.
Good night.
Good night, all.